Welcome to another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana, a continuous dedicated practice to finding our true selves and being able to live as our authentic selves. We will be today in chapter 6 again as we examine what's your path in yoga. It's said that the first 3 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita overall describe a path of acting in the world. The second 3 chapters are about more like being in the world, an emotional connection. The last 3 chapters are about maybe understanding the world, would be a good way to put it. But you'll get a chance to understand the nuances as we continue. Today, we're wrapping up our brief exploration of chapter 6 to help you notice if Dhyan Yoga, the path of meditation, could be the best path or just a good path for you. By a good path, I mean, yes, I can use it and it will complement other paths as well. So, Dhyan Yoga, I mentioned yesterday, Dhyan is meditation, but it's the kind of meditation where you've done it enough that it's effortless, that you just put your mind on your chosen object, like your breath, for example, or a symbol, and your mind rests there. Now, obviously, this takes a lot of preparation, which is why it's at the end of this first 6 chapter group. One reason this first chapter, this group is about doing in the world, many of us sit down to meditate or avoid meditating because we think we have too much to do. The Gita says, embrace that you have things to do. Do them. And then when you feel like I've finally done enough, then meditation. That's why it's kind of toward the end. And also, it follows chapter 5 because many of us have misconceptions about meditation. And that is when we meditate, we stop thinking. But as chapter 5 taught us, you cannot give up something you don't fully embrace. So if we find that we start to meditate, we have no thoughts, that's often due to repression or suppression. Or for those of us who are perfectionists, thinking, well, I've got to get meditation right the first time. So I'm going to stop thinking. I'm going to stop acknowledging that I'm thinking. I'm going to put a lid on all my thoughts. But then the lid blows off later and things erupt, which could be why if you try meditation and afterward you're actually more cranky than before, you might be experiencing suppression. And when you get out of the meditation, all your thoughts just go poof. So in chapter 6, it's not about stopping thinking. For most of us, we have to start with, and many teachers of meditation I've heard talk say this, we have to start with acknowledging that we think and acknowledging what our mind thinks, because we tend to label thoughts good or bad. So I might be thinking something like, holy cow, all these people are coming in for the solar eclipse. What am I going to, I can't live my life. That's a destructive thought. Or I could be thinking, wow, we're going to be in the path of a total solar eclipse. I'm so excited. And that's a more constructive thought. And I tell you, as somebody who's in the path of the totality, I have mixed thoughts. It's good to acknowledge this. So what we can do as we learn about Dhyan Yoga is just let ourselves think, but watch what we think. Get to know our minds. Before we try to give up thought, we have to know what we have that we're giving up. And then you might say, well, why is meditation, which is sitting still a lot, often at the end of these chapters on doing? And that's because every action that we have first starts in the mind. If you look at a physiological level, for example, when a limb moves, like when I do this, it doesn't start in my hand, it starts in my brain going wave. Okay. And then the brain sends the signals that activate the muscles that do this. So if we start to recognize our thoughts, we can start to understand our behavior, especially the behavior we think is beyond our control, like our spouse pushes a button and we automatically snap back and then we go, dang, I snapped again. Why? Or we're driving and somebody cuts us off and again we go, ah, even though in most other parts of our lives, we're like, chill. This is what meditation can do for us. When we recognize our thoughts, we recognize why we act like we do. And when we finally accept our thoughts and can renounce them, like say, thinking is good, but I'm just going to stop thinking for a while, and we can really do it, bliss. I liken it to many of us don't take our minds seriously, like our bodies. If I'm holding onto this towel and then I tell my hand to drop the towel and it doesn't, drop it, drop it. No. I go, what is wrong with my hand? It won't let go. But we don't expect the same response from our minds. This is something I don't want to think about. I got to let it go. And oftentimes it just comes back, right? So why don't we go, I need to do something about my mind. I need to see a specialist that can help me get my mind to let go. This is what chapter 6 is about. Today, as we do our practice, even the balance pose, just observe the mind, watch it, let it think what it wants to, and watch it. And then you know yourself. And when you know yourself, only then can you move on to the next 6 chapters, which are about establishing a devotional, even a loving connection with your true nature. Woo, let's get going, shall we? I have my cat friend here. Look out, cat friend. Thank you. Time to just sit, let the mind think, and watch those thoughts for 5 minutes. Welcome back. If you care to share what you were thinking about, please leave a comment or email or text me. I'd love to hear from you. I think a lot of people around the world right now have on their mind the total solar eclipse that's coming. And I would like to invite you to join Kathy on Sunday, the day before the eclipse, for a special yoga class that helps us experience its power more fully. You can go to welcomingdestiny.com and go to the workshops page or look at the link below, because I would love to see you even more often than I do now. Tomorrow, we'll start talking about chapter 7, which builds off, of course, of chapter 6, which built off of chapter 5, etc. Until then,